नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In short, hi. As many of you know, I have been involved in a school project for the last several years. So I thought it might be a good idea to share with you some thoughts I had on education. And in particular today, I want to talk about the problems we are seeing around us and how they are connected with education. So there are broadly two kinds of problems as I see them in education today. One is the problem of implementation, and the other is the problem of the goals of education itself. By implementation, I mean how knowledge is actually delivered to the students, whereas by goals of education, I mean what exactly should we be teaching our children. I don't know if you remember, but for me personally, the biggest problem in school was that I had to memorize a lot of stuff. Just mugging up and cramming a lot of information. And in that respect, I remember perhaps the most difficult or boring subject for me in school was social studies. You remember some of those page-long answers that some questions in history had? I never really liked history in school. But after school, it was one of the most fascinating subjects. Why does school do that? Why does it take away that thrill, that beauty of a subject? I think not only with social studies, but with all subjects, the focus was the same. It was on memorizing, whether it was math or science or languages. You were expected to memorize stuff, and prepare for the exam. This approach of rote learning, memorizing something and then reproducing it on an examination sheet is such a shame. The understanding of subjects, the appreciation of nature, the world around you, and the enjoyment of history, all that just took a back seat. But you know what was the bigger problem? The bigger problem was that this cramming actually worked, because the examination system was looking for that. It wasn't looking for whether you understood the subject or not. It was looking for whether you had memorized stuff sufficiently. You were given a set period of time and you were asked to answer questions which hardly checked your understanding of things. If you had memorized sufficiently, you would be fairly certain that you would get good marks. The focus of the teaching methodology should have been to help you understand the world around you. But instead, it became the completion of a syllabus. Teachers were required to complete the syllabus, to go through the textbooks and the workbooks, etc. And if you happen to be in a large classroom, where there were a lot of students, then individual attention was simply not possible. I mean, how do you expect a teacher to give individual attention to 40, 50 or 60 students? It's simply not possible. The end result is that it's quite a mess, really. The students are stressed out when an examination approaches. In fact, during the course of the year also, it's no fun. Education, going to school is just not fun. And in extreme cases, we have heard of students getting into depression and sometimes even committing suicide. Because They just couldn't handle the stress of the examination, which is so tragic, because the system that was supposed to give them hope and direction in life instead gave them depression and death. So why this entire exercise? Why these examinations? Why this dry curriculum? Well, it appears that the goal of schooling, the goal of education, is passing the examinations of the higher course. In schooling, that means getting into college. And the focus in college is to get good marks so that you can get a good job. Knowledge by itself is not relevant. Essentially, what we are doing is preparing workers for our industries. That is the great goal of modern education. But even with that narrow focus, we are unable to deliver results. Students coming out of school have no clue about the real world, and students coming out of college do not even know the subjects they studied there. I have personally interviewed so many freshers coming out of engineering colleges, having done their bachelor's in computer science, and they just don't know how to program. So, making children, making students ready for life is simply not a goal of our education system, unfortunately. So what is the result of this? The result is that engineers will take money to do all kinds of wrong things. Doctors have no moral dilemma in prescribing overpriced medicines or unnecessary tests just to get more commission from the pharmaceutical companies. Lawyers will not think twice about defending the wrong in return for money. Highly educated financial experts are cheating the public and siphoning off millions and billions of rupees. This is the sad state of affairs of our society. So why is that? Why is it that these people, these educated people, have no qualms about cheating others? Corruption is rampant, and the ones involved in it are not just the illiterate ones, but highly educated people. In fact, some of the worst corruption is done by those who are well educated. Why? What about problems closer to home? What about our manners of the society at large? How do we behave with each other? Well, most of us, definitely the educated ones, have learned to put up fake smiles. But if the going gets tough, even slightly tough, our fake smiles melt away, our words become bitter, and arrogance just shines on our face. Have you seen people getting into a small road accident and how they behave with each other? All good manners are set aside and monsters are unleashed. Similarly, there are many other issues in society today, such as deteriorating moral values and family bonds, lack of concern for parents, the inability of spouses to live with each other. And mind you, these are intricately linked to a lack of good education. So, how do you overcome these issues? Issues of implementation and issues of the goals and aims of education. So let me know what you think about this, And do you see these as problems? Do you think these need solving? If so, how do you think we should proceed to solve these problems? On my part, I will share my views in a future video, inshallah. So until then, thank you for your time, and goodbye.